Sakra. That doesn't sound good.
Indeed. I wonder what he wants to lecture me about this time. And you, because you're going with me.
All right, we should get going then, shouldn't we, Sir Hans? The sooner we get it over and done with, the better.
I suppose so. Right away. I put some of my old clothes in a trunk for you. I don't want you making me look bad in front of Hanush. And I see I did the right thing. Jesus, Henry, if you're going to be my companion, you have to look the part.
Thanks, Sir Hans. I'll go and get changed now.
What are you doing?
Good day. What is it?
I feel quite hungry.
Hey, watch it. Funk these days. was that?
So what have you learned?
All sorts of things. There's some foreigner called Eric behind the counterfeiting ring, and someone highly placed at the monastery.
The monastery? Really?
That's what Jezek claimed.
So it's worse than I thought. If this is true, we'll have to proceed with the utmost caution.
Why? Can't we just go to the monastery to investigate?
No. If the church is truly involved, I have no authority.
So what will you do?
I'll have to think about it. It won't be an easy nut to crack. I'll have to consult with Hanush. And what of this Eric? Who is he?
I don't know, but he's recruiting armed men in Sasau and forming an army.
Damn! So it looks like Pribyslavitz wasn't the end of it.
It most certainly wasn't, sir. And what's more, Sir Jezek is convinced this Eric is only a go-between, and there's someone bigger behind him.
You should return to Sasau and take a closer look at those recruiters. If they're going to attack, we must find out sooner than last time.
It might not be as straightforward as that. Sir Jezek didn't know them and has no idea how to find them.
You'll have to manage somehow, my lad. Don't tell me there's an armed force amassing here and nobody knows anything. Go to Sasau and try to find them.
I'm not sure where to start, sir.
Then ask around the alehouses and inns, or at the Rathaus. Someone must have heard something. These things can't be entirely kept in the dark. Whatever you do, be careful, Henry. And best not mention my name. It would attract unwelcome attention. What we want is for the crimps to take you for just another village lad they can lure into their gang.
All right, sir. I'll try to blend in as best I can.
I know I'm asking a lot of you, but I know of no one else who could help as much as you can now.
Sir, there's one more thing. Sir Jezek went with me without resistance, because I promised him he could come to an agreement with you.
My boy, my boy. You make promises in my name? That could turn out very badly for both of us. But, if it can prevent bloodshed, why the hell not? We may well come to some arrangement after all, but I can't say yet what will become of him. You'd better run along.
As you command, sir.
Good day to you.
A I've got a few questions for you, Bailiff, if you don't mind. Have you been having some trouble around here?
And what business is it of yours? Did someone complain? Who sent you here?
No one complained, though I'd be interested to know why you think they might. It was Lord Radzig who sent me. He'd heard word that some unsavoury characters are holed up round here.
Begging your pardon, but what the devil does Sir Radzig care about it? And I keep hearing the same from Sir Sebastian, and he's got no dog in this fight either.
Sir Sebastian? Who's that?
Sebastian Baron von Berg. He's here under monastery law to protect us against all this unrest in the land.
Why should he care about the city? That's not his jurisdiction, is it?
Quite true. I'm in charge of this city, but he keeps telling me I've got cutthroats hiding around here, and I should be more vigilant. The goal of the man.
You have an inn and the horse trails cross here. There must be many travellers come seeking work, and not all of them honest men.
Aye, it's true. Bedlam has broken out once or twice, and restoring order was no easy matter.
Has there been anything like that lately?
No. It's been quiet here lately. But now that I think about it, I don't recall coming across anyone here like that.
Nobody looking for soldiering work, maybe as a merchant's guard?
There's always one or two like that. But if they don't get the job, they move on.
Have you heard any talk of strangers in the town? Maybe people acting oddly?
Nothing worth mentioning.
Damn!
Sure, there's been some talk about the miller. Done anything. He's a decent enough man for a miller.
I'll try asking him if he's heard anything.
He lives on the other side of the river, by the bogs. But don't go getting your hopes up. He might not be able to help.
I heard some recruiters are meeting in Sasau. Seemed likely they'd get up to mischief and people might complain.
Do you think that people here complain and I don't do my job? Nothing of the sort. Old Lederman's the only one that comes complaining, but I pay no heed to him.
And what does this Lederman complain about?
Lederman is our local tanner. Lives by the quarry, which is where, well, some youngsters go there to wrestle.
They go there to fight and that doesn't bother you?
Why would it bother me? Much better to brawl there than in the tavern. At least in the quarry they can't damage anything but each other. And my catchpoles go by there from time to keep an eye on things.
Thank you, Bailiff. God be with you. Have you noticed anything suspicious lately?
And what's your idea of suspicious?
Have you heard of anyone looking to hire some rough men?
Mercenaries, you mean?
Yes.
There were some fellows conspiring here in the corner twice a week, and others coming and going. They didn't look entirely respectable, but they never made any trouble.
And what happened to them?
I don't know, they just stopped coming, and I haven't seen hide nor hair of them since.
You haven't heard anything about where they went?
How could I have? They just stopped coming, and that's that.
Where do you think they might be meeting now?
How should I know? I'm an honest innkeeper, not a man-at-arms. They could be meeting at another inn. They could be meeting in the woods by the light of the moon, for all I know.
Is there any way I'll recognize them?
Unquenchable thirst. They drank like fish. They were rough-looking, too. Big-bearded and scruffy. Aside from that, they mostly kept to themselves.
That's not much help. What did they do while they were waiting for someone?
They drank. And they played dice. I do remember there were always dice on the table.
So they were fond of dice, were they? And where would you find a game around here?
Anywhere there's dice and usually drink. That's all you need for a game. Although it dawns on me now, I never saw Simon with those men, oddly enough. He's got a nose for drunken dice players with a coin to lose.
Simon who?
Why, the young miller. He runs Catsick Mill. Neighbours are always slandering him for trafficking, but who knows? Maybe he just has a knack for business.
Thank you for the help.
Not at all. But why off so soon? Sit down for a tankard or a bite to eat.
Have you noticed anything suspicious lately?
And what's your idea of suspicious?
You don't know where I might find some more dishonourable folk?
And why would you want them? You'll set tongues wagging about you.
But they'd be the ones to know what reputable townsfolk don't.
I grant you that. Well, we don't have an executioner, just a knacker. But he's an odd fellow. Like any knacker, I suppose. And there's some strange tales about Miller Simon, too. But I'd say it's just jealousy.
What can you tell me about the knacker?
Decent folk don't talk about him. He deals in carcasses.
I was hoping you'd tell me a bit more than that.
Why should I care about him? He lives in a house by the church, and that's all I know. And all I'll say.
What can you tell me about Simon?
There's not much to tell. He runs Catsick Mill, and some say thieves meet there at night. But isn't there gossip about every miller? I don't think he's a sinner. But only God knows for sure.
Anything else?
You might not find him at the mill. He's a busy man, always out and about making some deal or other. And he likes to throw dice, especially when he sees a fat purse hanging on a drunken belly.
Thank you for the help.
Not at all. But why off so soon? Sit down for a tankard or a bite to eat.
Good day to you.
Are you the local knacker?
I'm the local gravedigger. But if there aren't any burials to take care of, I'll turn me hand to knackery.
Well, then you might know a lot of things that others don't.
I'm a decent man. Not always honest, but decent.
And what's been happening in Sasau lately?
Nothing interesting. Except maybe that bitch being slaughtered.
What? Who was she, a villager? I wouldn't call that nothing interesting.
No! I mean a dog bitch. It was a while back, but they called me to clear it up.
What happened?
The dog looked like she'd been hacked to bits. They were scared it was some demon, but as far as I could see, someone took a sword or an axe to her.
Why on earth would anyone do that?
What do I know? Maybe he was snooping around where he shouldn't, and the bitch went for him. I hear there was some dog-bitten fellow being cared for at the monastery. Only they kept him there on account of a broken leg. Maybe that's the same one.
Anything fishy going on in these parts?
There certainly is. Candles are being stolen from the church, as brazen as that. What sort of people do that?
Ah, but have you heard of anyone around here hiring adventurers and bandits?
How would I know that? Most people avoid talking to me. I don't even go to the tavern much these days.
Thank you. I'll be going now.
Very well. Feel free to stop by any time. People shy away from me, except when there's a death, or the cesspit's full.
Good day.
Tanner, I've heard all's not well with you.
It's better now. I must have eaten something bad.
No, I mean you've complained about some ruffians raising hell behind your house.
Aye, true enough. That lot's been a thorn in my side. And when I went to tell them to take it elsewhere, they nearly beat me to a pulp.
When are they there?
Nearly every evening. Every god-forsaken evening. Shouting and bellowing there till nightfall. And then they leave. Probably to get drunk.
How many of them are there?
How would I know? They make as much noise as a herd of wild boar in rutting season.
And did they all attack you?
Aye. They knocked the stuffing right out of me.
And nobody does a thing about it?
I've been to the bailiff, but he couldn't give a rat's arse. There's no commotion under his window, so what does he care?
That's quite a bailiff you've got.
A scarecrow would keep better order.
If you want, I'll take care of them.
Well, you look like you could move mountains, but there are several of them and just one of you.
Perhaps we'll be able to settle things peacefully.
Maybe. They might think twice before kicking your arse.
Perhaps I can reason with them. It doesn't have to come to blows.
Well, break a leg, lad. Or better yet, don't. But if you manage to pull it off, you'll get your reward. Don't worry.
I'd like something to eat. I'll have a beer. One beer.
Jesus, what do you want from me now?
I'm looking for some people you might know something about.
If they come here to drink, maybe. But I won't aid you in any mischief.
I've heard some rough men come here looking to recruit. Have they ever stopped in to eat or drink? Or to arrange something?
There were some brawlers that used to fight behind the tavern, but they raised such a commotion. I went and complained, and the town watch drove them off somewhere.
I wasn't thinking about that lot. I'm looking for recruiters that hire mercenaries and other cutthroats.
Don't know about that. Every once in a while, a merchant will hire some help or an escort, but nothing more. Nobody comes here regular. I'd notice if they did.
Do you happen to know where the brawlers you complained about moved on to?
I've not got the slightest inkling. Oh, I'm just glad all the shouting stopped. It scared the horses in the stables.
You haven't heard talk of any scoundrels in town?
Well, I have heard some things, but I can't say if they're true or not. There's some that talk just to hear the sound of their own voices.
And who's the most frequent topic of that kind of gossip?
Miller Simon. They say he's rich with coin, and it's not from the mill. But that's nonsense. Folk just don't know how much a mill can earn.
Anyone else?
Aye, there's talk of the knacker giving people the evil eye, or them that's not in bailiff's good graces. But I don't suppose that's what you want to know.
Thank you, innkeeper.
Not at all. Would you like something to eat or drink?
My pleasure.
I've heard it's not quite as lively here as it once was.
Well, I wouldn't say that. Guests are always making merry when there's a drink to be had.
That's not quite what I meant. I'd heard there were some stable boys staying here for a long while looking for work, but it took too long and they took to causing trouble.
True, but that's nothing new. No, the thing is, there's not many wagons coming through at all. Folk are afraid to travel far in case they get done in by some cutthroats or, God forbid, have their wagons requisitioned by some army.
So there are fewer travellers, and some of them must be a little unsavoury.
I take anyone who turns up. They come one day and leave the next, maybe with someone else. Past few weeks I've only had trouble with one who skipped off without paying.
He just vanished, without a word.
Well, he said he lost all his silver to the miller, and he had to go and see him about something. Only he never came back. Left all his belongings here.
Do you still have them?
Of course not. I sold them all a few days later when he didn't come back. The buyer's gone now too, before you ask. But there wasn't much there in any case. The seller didn't even cover his bill.
Is there somewhere I could sleep here?
Certainly. For how long?
Just the one night?
No problem. But you pay in advance.
Here you go.
You'll like it here. Like sleeping on a cloud it is.
aren't shook. You're an ass. You'd better hope I don't shake you.
All I'm
Good health to you.
I heard that someone's looking for men willing to do anything. Do you know anything about that?
Willing to do anything? Meaning what? Something filthy like helping the knacker? I wouldn't know. Go and ask someone else.
That's not what I meant, but all right. What happened with the tanner?
Nothing out of the ordinary. He came to test his mettle like everyone, but he couldn't even get past young Weed. Then he started whining about getting his money back because we tricked him, so we threw him out. He came back a few times after that complaining about all the shouting and ordered us to bugger off elsewhere.
But you didn't.
No. And when he got really annoying, he got a punch in the mouth, and he hasn't been back since. Doesn't dare to. But it didn't shut that big mouth of his.
Good day.
I've heard that someone's looking for men willing to do anything. Do you know anything about it?
If I knew you better, I might tell you. But as things stand...
What went on with the tanner?
When things got lively, I wasn't here. The others were, though. Go ask them.
I could do with a bite to eat.
Good day.
I heard someone was looking for men willing to do anything. Do you know anything about it?
Maybe. I work in the quarry, and they're always looking for extra hands to replace them that's got something broken.
That's not what I meant, but thanks. Why did you thrash the tanner?
Because he came by one day, lost his money, and then started on about how we cheated him and ought to give him back his coin. He was a right pest.
He told me that you jumped him when he asked you to stop making a racket behind his house.
Well, that's sort of true. But he didn't start complaining until he lost his money. Before that, it didn't bother him.
What do you need?
I heard that someone was looking for men willing to do anything. Do you know anything about that?
No, but I'm always the last to hear of anything like that. I'll ask Punch. He'd know.
I heard you gave him quite a beating.
It's his own damn fault.
Really? He just came to tell you to go elsewhere.
That's what he told you? Bollocks! He came of his own accord. It was him started the fuss, after he'd lost all his money.
He really tried to have a go. I wouldn't think he'd have it in him.
He tried, but he didn't have much luck. He does pack a punch. But landing it in the right place, ha! I'm not surprised he's got no children.
I could do with a bite to eat. I'm looking for work, and I've heard someone around here wants fearless men. Do you know anything about it?
I've heard they might be looking for a new knacker. So if you're not afraid of carcasses and the occasional pile of shite...
Thanks, but no thanks. Word has it someone's hiring mercenaries and other fighters.
Ah, well, you've heard more than I.
The tanner sent me. He says you've been causing a commotion at night, and I thought I might convince you to stop.
Ha! So all his whining finally found a friendly ear, did it? Let me tell you something first, whelp. I'm the bailiff's man, and we're not doing anything wrong here. Old Lederman's only been whining like that since he lost a bit of silver. Didn't bother him before that.
He told me different.
Ha! Of course he did. Otherwise no one would help him. Go ahead and ask the lads. They'll tell you the same. It's God's honest truth.
I'll take you at your word. But what should I do now?
The way I see it, you've got two choices. Screw that old liar and leave him be, or get down to business.
What do you mean, get down to business?
Well, you may think you're pretty tough, and if you give us all a thrashing, we might think it over. But then again, we're no strangers to a hard fight.
If I break your arm, then you won't be coming here for a while, will you?
But I'm a fair fellow, so I'll make you an offer. If you enter our tournament and win, which means beating us all, then we'll go elsewhere. If you don't win, then you're flat out of luck and have to leave. That's not so bad, is it?
What are you doing here?
Nothing special. Just a little evening wrestling. It's good for your back and digestion. And your purse too, if you know your business.
If I wanted to join in, what would I have to do?
It's pretty simple. First you have to beat Weed. He's that not too dangerous looking fella there. But some nights, he gets a good rest and he's got God on his side. Then you can try one of those three. Doesn't matter which. And if you whip all three, you can test your mettle against me. Fair enough?
So the last match is with you?
That's right. They say a bout with me is no joke. Just bad humours.
I want to fight you.
What did I tell you? First beat Weed and those three clowns. And then I'll have time for you. Got it?
I feel quite hungry. Let's fight.
Not so fast, lad. First you'll have to prove your worth. Go around with Weed, and then you can take me on.
Fine. I'll be right back. I could do with a bite to eat. Let's do it.
Let's go.
Let's fight.
You look pretty good. But I'm betting it was just luck.
We'll see. Let's fight.
That wasn't bad. But let's see how you do with me.
I'll kill you! I'll fucking kill you!
Oh.
Oh.
Let's fight.
That wasn't bad, but now we'll take it up a notch.
Go!
I want to fight you.
You put on quite a show. Can't say I expected it.
Now you... I'm over here!
I could do with a bite to eat.
What the hell?
Hey, where's your torch? You can't walk
Get
around
out of
in
here.
the dark without a light.
Get out of here.
I'll have to get something to eat. I'm starting to get hungry.
Hey, you! Don't move a muscle! Surrender! You'll have to answer for your law-breaking. Surrender now! Hear me?
Guards! Help! Stop that brawl before they beat each other to death. Guards! Do something quick.
Who's there? What? You're in the wrong place at the wrong time. So it's you! You were seen starting a brawl. This definitely won't come cheap. You'll learn crime doesn't pay.
Another one who thinks he's above the law. Do you hear? It's not allowed to walk here in the dark without a light. The guards will see you and you'll be in trouble.
Oh well, what can I do? Here you are.
You've purged yourself before the law, but I'll be keeping an eye on you, you can be sure of that.
I feel quite hungry.
Get out of here.
I feel quite hungry. I'll have to get something to eat. I'm starting to get hungry.